Success becomes a liability. There's an unspoken tax that comes with being a successful physician. The moment you achieve stability, not wealth, just stability, people stop seeing you as a person. You become a resource, a safety net, a walking bailout fund. And that expectation isn't random. It's been trained into us. Medicine doesn't just teach science, it teaches servitude. From day one, we're told that good doctors give everything: time, sleep, weekends, health, and family. We stay late without complaint, apologize when others mess up, and wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. By the time we finish training, altruism isn't a virtue, it's muscle memory. Why doctors can't stop saying yes. Medicine doesn't just teach us how to save lives, it teaches us how to surrender our own. From the first day of medical school, we learned that yes is the safest answer. Yes to extra call. Yes to staying late. Yes to covering someone else's shift again. Because saying no comes with consequences. It's not just guilt, it's subtle punishment. The raised eyebrow from an attending, the whispered comment on rounds, the evaluation that says, "You're not a team player." You learn early on that your reputation is fragile, and that being liked is just as important as being competent. So we become people pleasers and scrubs. We start agreeing to everything, not because it's good medicine, but because it's good politics. We're told that compliance equals professionalism, that humility means silence, that taking one for the team is part of the calling. And over time, saying yes stops feeling optional. It feels like survival. We internalize it so deeply that even outside the hospital, we keep doing it. We say yes to social obligations we don't have time for. We say yes to paying for things we don't owe. We say yes to projects, to committees, to favors that drain us because the alternative feels selfish. We're afraid of being seen as lazy, entitled, or ungrateful. So we keep performing because approval has become our currency. And everyone knows it. People expect doctors to pick up the slack, cover the bill, donate more, stay late, help out, because that's what doctors do. But the truth is, we've been programmed for obedience. We mistake guilt for gratitude and obligation for compassion. We've spent so many years learning how to say yes that we've forgotten how to say no, even when it's the only answer that keeps us whole. The problem with being too generous. Once you start saying yes, people stop taking no for an answer. The moment you extend your hand, whether it's time, money, or patience, someone grabs your arm. You pay once, it becomes expected. You help once, it becomes your job. You go above and beyond once, and that becomes the new baseline. And medicine trains this behavior from day one. We're taught that team players should always say yes, that we should take on the scut work, make extra calls, chase labs, stay late to rewrite discharge summaries, all because it helps the team. We're told that being seen doing something, even if it's meaningless, is better than appearing idle. That's how you end up watching a resident pushing an empty stretcher down the hall or faxing pages of paperwork that a clerk could handle, just to be noticed. We internalize that busy equals being valuable. We confuse exhaustion with purpose. So by the time we finish training, most doctors are terrible prioritizers. We spend time doing low-value tasks just to get the old familiar hit of approval, the good job reflex or dopamine hit that medicine has drilled into us. And that's tragedy. We leave residency trained to please, not to lead. We don't know how to manage our time, to delegate, to automate, or protect our time in general for things that actually move us forward. You can't innovate when you're drowning in minutia. You can't build anything new when every free minute is spent apologizing, trying to protect your own time. And you definitely can't have a life outside medicine when every instinct in your body tells you that saying no makes you ungrateful. It's the same psychology as responding to a baby every time it cries. You're teaching that the noise works. Doctors live surrounded by professional and social big babies, people who've learned that if they complain long enough, we'll give in. And unlike actual babies, these ones never grow out of it. That's how burnout happens. Not from one big ask, but from 1,000 small ones you were too polite to refuse. Every yes costs a piece of your energy, your creativity, and eventually your life outside of medicine. You're not rich, you're a target. There's a hidden surcharge that comes with being perceived as successful, what we call the doctor price. Tell a contractor or worker you're a physician, and the quote magically inflates. A home advisor survey showed homeowners in high-income zip codes pay up to 35% more for the same work. Mention your profession, and you're basically announced a tip they didn't earn. You're guaranteed it. It's not respect, It's exploitation wrapped in flattery. We're underpaid for what we do in the hospitals and overcharged for the privilege of doing it outside them. Society assumes that being capable means being obligated, and that quiet assumption bleeds into everything we touch. It happens constantly. A contractor bids to renovate your kitchen and casually adds $60,000 because, hey, you're a doctor in California, you'll want the best fixtures. A plumber charges more per hour than an anesthesiologist to fix a simple leak. An attorney quotes $3,000 to set up an LLC, something you can do online for $79. You start realizing that being a physician doesn't make you respected. It makes you a mark. Every interaction turns into a test to see how much you'll tolerate before you'll notice. That's why you can't just get one estimate. You need a dozen. Plumbers, electricians, roofers, everyone. Because if you don't shop around, you'll end up paying for other people's assumptions about your income. And here's what's really telling. When a doctor questions a price or negotiates fairly, people laugh. They'll say, come on, you make good money, just pay it. But the same people worship billionaires who negotiate everything down to the cent. Because they understand that wealth isn't built by saying yes to everyone. It's preserved by refusing to get fleeced. Now, there's a difference between splitting hairs and being taken advantage of. It's one thing to value your time over a few dollars. It's another to let everyone around you decide what your time and your dignity are worth. When hospitals profit, it's strategy. When doctors save, it's greed. Few double standards in medicine are louder than this one. When physicians build stability, it's vilified. When corporations or hospitals do it, it's applauded. Non-profit hospital systems post multi-million-dollar surpluses after closing maternity wards and cutting staff, and then they issue press releases about community stewardship. They profit, receive tax breaks, and collect donations under the halo of mission. Meanwhile, a physician trying to save for retirement is accused of being in it for the money. If a hospital does it, it's fiscal responsibility. If a hospital does it, it's losing touch. Apparently, success is noble only when it belongs to an institution, never when it belongs to an individual. And the irony runs even deeper. We live under the shadow of the Stark Law, the regulation that prohibits physicians from self-referral to avoid the appearance of profiting from their own work. It was designed to protect patients from conflicts of interest, in a spirit that makes sense. But in practice, it punishes physicians for being connected to their own labor, while hospitals and corporate groups do the exact same thing on a massive scale, legally. Hospitals own the imaging centers, the labs, the surgical facilities, and then funnel their referrals internally, pocketing the revenue streams that physicians are forbidden to touch. The same system that tells us we can't profit from our own work profits from us endlessly. That's the hypocrisy. Doctors get investigated for overbilling if they document correctly, but hospitals can exploit billing loopholes worth millions and call it system efficiency. Physicians are handcuffed by regulation, while the institutions that employ them are rewarded for playing financial chess with human care. So yes, when a doctor starts to protect their time, negotiate fair pay, or say no to yet another unpaid committee, it's not greed. It's survival in a system that's designed to extract every ounce of labor while pretending virtue lives only at the top. We mistake obedience for virtue. Part of the problem is us. We've been trained to say yes, to overextend, to seek approval. We think being respected means being useful, even when it drains us. Medicine breeds an exaggerated subservience, a reflex to please, not protect ourselves. And nowhere is it clearer than in anesthesiology. We're told our professional identity should be summed up in 3 words: affable, available, and able. It sounds noble, but what it really means is be agreeable, be reachable, and never say no. It's the polite way of saying be a yes man or a yes woman. It means your time is never your own. It means your phone is always on. It means your needs, your meals, your sleep, your family are secondary to everyone else's schedule. Because the expectation isn't that we care for our patients. That part we gladly signed up for. It's that we also cater to everyone else's convenience. Surgeons, administrators, schedulers, PACU staff, everyone. Their day gets run smoothly because ours rarely ever does. And if you ever dare to push back or simply say, no, I can't take another case, you're labeled as difficult. Meanwhile, the ones who keep bending are praised for being team players, while I'm sure they quietly burn out. We think boundaries are arrogance. We think rest is weakness. We think self-respect is optional as long as we're still good doctors. But that's not professionalism. That's servitude in a white coat. and it's the kind that burns through empathy one yes at a time. Doctors don't owe anyone their exhaustion. This entire cycle ends only when we stop playing along. It's not just about others expecting too much. It's about us saying yes too often. We confuse compliance with kindness and martyrdom with meaning. But saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sane. You can be compassionate, generous, and humble without becoming everyone's solution. Boundaries aren't arrogance, they're recovery. Doctors have a lot paid in years of debt, sleepless nights, and missed milestones. We don't owe anyone the rest of what's left.